Hello, I'm Maddie, and welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm on Sanibel Island, a barrier island just off the coast of southwest Florida. Sanibel and its sister island Captiva are known for beautiful natural beaches, wildlife, abundant sea life, and excellent shelling. Over the past few weeks, I've been taking classes at Sanibel Sea School to learn more about the ocean with one of the school's marine biologists, Shannon Stankin. Shannon is an expert in marine ecosystems and is full of information about how seagrasses matter in the ocean's health. Before I tell you about seagrass, it is important to know why the area of southwest Florida is so special. As you can see on this map, Sanibel, Captiva, North Captiva, and Cayo Costa Islands form a barrier chain between the Gulf of Mexico and the Florida mainland. The waters on the mainland side of these islands are shallow, averaging just 4 feet deep, and they're made up of a mix of ocean salt water from the Gulf of Mexico to the west, fresh water from the Caloosahatchee River on the east, and brackish water from Charlotte Harbor to the north and San Carlos Bay to the south. This area is called the Pine Island Sound. It turns out that this mixture of different waters, plus the sound's shallow depth, creates a perfect habitat for many species of sea life, including mangroves, salt marshes, oyster colonies, tidal flats, sponge beds, and seagrasses. And because these flourish here, Pine Island Sound is home to many species of fish and mammals, including grouper, sea turtles, redfish, snook, mullet, spotted sea trout, and tarpon, and two of my favorites, dolphin and manatees. So what is seagrass, and why does it matter? The natural habitat in Pine Island Sound is perfect for growing mangroves and seagrasses. Seagrasses are especially important for sustaining life in the Sound, and healthy seagrass beds are critical to the survival of manatees. The first thing to know about seagrass is that it is actually not grass at all, and it is not seaweed or algae as most people think. Seagrass is unique in the ocean because it's a flowering plant complete with roots that can live and flower underwater. Its flower looks like a white daisy. Seagrass is the only flowering plant that can live underwater. The second thing I learned is that seagrass is more critical to the ocean's health than I ever thought. Here's why. There are 60 global species of seagrass, and it grows along almost every coastline in every country, except Antarctica. Seagrass lives near the coast where the water is shallow. There are two things that are needed for seagrass to flourish. The water has to be clear enough for sunlight to reach the plant and allow photosynthesis, and the water has to contain just the right amount of salt. Let's talk about seagrass on Sanibel Island. Sanibel and Captiva Islands were originally covered in seagrasses. They were a part of the larger Everglades wetland ecosystem, which is a huge wetland area covering most of the very southern tip of Florida's mainland. Because of human development, Sanibel is no longer covered with seagrass, but there's still plenty of seagrass along the beaches and coastline along Pine Island South, which is an estuary. An estuary is a body of water between rivers and wetlands and the ocean. They are often found between the mainland and barrier islands. Since Sanibel Island is the last barrier island before the Gulf of Mexico, the estuary on its eastern side is very large. There are 7 different kinds of seagrasses in Florida. I saw 3 of these types in an estuary off of Sanibel: shoal, manatee, and turtle. The type of seagrass that grows in a specific area depends on salinity, which is the amount of salt that is present in the water. Salinity is measured with an instrument called a refractometer. If an area has too much fresh water or too much salt, seagrass cannot survive. Conditions have to be just right, which is what makes Pine Island Sound so special. It naturally has all the right conditions for seagrass to flourish. If you look closely at a seagrass bed, you will see that it is teeming with life. Shannon showed me how to find small creatures of all kinds, including seahorses, snails, hermit crabs, juvenile shrimp, sea stars, and small fish. When these creatures grow, they will move from the seagrasses to mangroves and then to coral reefs. Without healthy seagrasses and mangrove forests, there would be no life to support the world's coral reefs. And without coral reefs, 25% of all sea life would become extinct. So why is seagrass in trouble? I was shocked to learn that the world's seagrass beds are decreasing by 7% per year. That means we are losing seagrass colonies faster than we are losing coral reefs and rainforests. The biggest cause is the development on our coastlines. In building homes, hotels, and recreation sites, seagrass is being torn up and replaced with concrete, man-made islands, and beaches. Why do manatees need seagrass? One of my favorite mammals in Southwest Florida is the manatee. Manatees are large, slow-moving mammals that spend the winter in South Florida because they migrate to find warm water. They typically grow to 10 feet long and weigh between 800 and 1,200 pounds. They spend the summer along the coasts of South Carolina, Georgia, and Alabama, although occasionally they are spotted as far away as Texas and Massachusetts. Manatees are gentle, curious herbivores. They are unafraid to approach humans, but pose no threat to us. They are most abundantly found in slow-moving rivers, estuaries, saltwater bays, canals, and coastal areas. They eat aquatic plants and floating vegetation from any environment, but the most critical food to their survival is seagrass. Manatees face a lot of dangers in the world, most notably from boaters and cold waters. Because they live in areas close to the shorelines that are usually popular with boaters, they get hurt. It is estimated that 90% of the world's manatees carry scars from boat strikes. And when global warming events cause changes in ocean water temperatures, manatees can die because they cannot find warmer waters fast enough. But because seagrass habitats are disappearing, manatees have fewer warm water feeding options in the winter months. Last year, over 1,100 manatees were found dead along the coast of Florida, the most ever recorded, and nearly double the average for the last 5 years. There are only 6,000 manatees in Florida, so this loss represents about 18% of the total population. Over 50% of these deaths were caused by starvation due to the lack of sufficient seagrass beds. Without thriving seagrass beds, manatees simply do not have enough plants to eat. This is a clear warning sign that unless we do something to restore seagrass beds, it won't be long before the manatee population becomes extinct. Here in Southwest Florida, the Sanibel Captiva Conservation Foundation provides habitat and wildlife management, environmental education, and builds shoreline plantings and buffers to repair damaged areas. Also, if you live near the coast, make sure you are planting and landscaping in ways that help with drainage and erosion. And make sure runoff from your land is safe for the seagrasses in your area. Of course, we can all protect the oceans by being careful on our shorelines. Don't leave trash on the beach, especially plastics. Don't use the oceans and bays as your dumping ground for waste or junk. Be careful when boating or enjoying water sports, as these all can do serious damage to seagrass beds. And wear reef-safe sunscreen to avoid transferring harmful chemicals on seagrasses. Finally, become an advocate for protecting our oceans. Ask your teachers to include seagrass, mangrove, and coral reef education as a part of their curriculum. And make sure all of your friends and family are aware of the problem and solutions. We need to protect seagrasses and mangrove forests and ensure their conservation, just as aggressively as we're working on saving the world's coral reefs and rainforests. Together, seagrasses, mangroves, and coral reefs are all critical for keeping our oceans healthy and full of life for future generations to come. Even though seagrass isn't the most exciting thing to see in the ocean, it's essential for the survival of many of the ocean's more interesting creatures. I hope you had just as much fun learning about seagrass as I did. I'm Maddie Molina. Thank you for watching my video. I'll see you next time.